Thanks to XREAL for sponsoring this video. This is the XREAL One, the company's new AR glasses that not only come with a wider field of view for an even bigger big screen experience, but also with their own custom-built spatial chip that helps take things to the next level. Inside the box, you get a carrying case, the glasses themselves, a braided USB-C cable for connecting to your devices, along with some different sized nose pads. Now, at first glance, these glasses look almost identical to the last gen in the Air 2 Pros. It's the same sunglass-inspired design, the arms adjust up and down just like before, you get the same USB-C cable at the back, and the same mode and rocker buttons for adjusting things like the brightness and electrochromic dimming. But what's different now is that the right arm has this customizable shortcut button at the top. There's actually a hidden accessory port under the bridge area where you can connect an optional camera that XREAL is calling the Eye. And as this big logo will tell you, the new speakers on here have been specially tuned by Bose. Now, in terms of comfort, they are technically a little bit heavier than the last gen at 84 grams compared to 75. And the height of the nose pads do seem a little bit higher than before, but it's not something that I've noticed, with it being mostly the same as the last gen in terms of the feel. Of course, the thing that you really want to know about these is how do they look, right? And the short answer is really good. It's still a 1080p resolution, so it's not any sharper than it was before, but thanks to the larger 50-degree field of view, the screen is a little bit bigger. So you're going from a perceived size of, I would say, around 140 inches from 4 meters away up to 147, which might not sound like a lot, but it is something that I noticed immediately as soon as I put these on. And because XREAL also improved the edge clarity on the display, where before there was a little bit of blurring up in the corners, you end up getting significantly more usable screen real estate. On top of that, the display is brighter at 600 nits compared to 500, and XREAL also says that these are the first AR glasses to receive the new TÜV Rheinland 5-star certification for eye comfort, which is promising. In fact, the only knock that I have with these things compared to the last gen is the fact that XREAL didn't include light blockers in the box. Because while the electrochromic dimming on here is really good, like when you set it up to the highest setting, you can't see anything in front of you, not even your hand. Because of the nature of the bird bath lenses, they do pick up reflections from what's directly underneath them. So if you're in a bright environment, or if you're wearing a bright shirt, then you can notice those reflections. Whereas the light blockers with the Air 2 Pros did a good job at blocking those out. But in most of the situations where you end up using these, it's generally not that big of a deal. And overall, you're getting a significantly better display, with the 0.68-inch micro OLEDs from Sony giving you a rich and vibrant picture with that higher contrast ratio. And of course, the size and clarity of it just makes anything you do on here, whether that's watching a movie or playing games, just look amazing. Now, luckily, the improvements didn't stop with just the visuals. The audio on here also got a boost, with those Bose-tuned speakers truly being better. So it's not just marketing, with the speakers being both louder and fuller. Just take a listen for yourself. I'm not saying that these speakers are going to compete with something like the AirPods Pro. So if you want the best audio experience, obviously connecting earbuds is going to do that. But they are at the point where I've personally found myself not reaching for my earbuds anywhere near as often as it did with the last gen, which I think is saying a lot. But as much of an improvement that XREAL made with the display and the speakers, I actually think that the X1 chip inside of them is the bigger story, with these being the first AR glasses of this type to support native 3 degrees of freedom tracking and stabilization, meaning you no longer need a separate device like XREAL's Beam or Beam Pro to get the best experience possible. So before, when you connected a pair of glasses like these directly to an iPhone, let's say, where Apple is notorious for not letting third-party developers tap into their hardware, you only got a static screen. It was still a big screen, but you would see every little shake and vibration translate into the display. But now, with the X1 chip and the full 3DoF stabilization, even when you're connected directly to an iPhone, you get a rock-solid experience, with the screen staying absolutely still in place, canceling out all those little vibrations and tremors. Which, that alone, I think makes these a significant upgrade over the last gen. But with the X1 chip, you also get more. So there's 3 different spatial modes that you can toggle through. There's the anchor mode, where the screen will stay fixed in 3D space, so when you turn your head, the screen doesn't follow you. There's the follow mode, where the screen does follow you, gently keeping the screen centered in view. And then there's a new side view mode, where it'll pin a miniaturized version of the screen to either the top left or the top right corner and let you see through the lenses into the real world, which kind of plays more on the AR aspect of these things. Which, side note, while these aren't as see-through as the AR glasses we imagine we'll all be wearing in the future, they have gotten significantly more transparent, where combined with the shortcut button at the top, which by default turns off the electrochromic dimming in the display, lets you quickly check in on your environment without having to take the glasses off, where you just tap the button, do your business, and then press it again to jump back into what you're watching. Now, because the glasses have their own chip now, you get an on-screen menu or a display where you can fine-tune things to get them to look just how you want them. So you can change the display's color temperature to either cooler or warmer. You can adjust the perceived size of the screen from 117 inches if you feel like it's too big, all the way up to 191 inches, which is just massive, although you do get some cropping if you do that. And similarly, you can also change the perceived distance from a minimum of 4 meters away all the way out to 10 meters to make the screen feel like it's significantly off into the distance. And thanks to the wider field of view and the X1 chip, these glasses finally get IPD adjustments. They're software-based, so the lenses aren't actually moving themselves, but they're still pretty effective, with them not only helping reduce edge blurring, which I was talking about earlier, but they can also help enhance your depth perception, where our editor, who was never able to see any changes in the perceived distances, could see those changes once he tweaked the IPD. And then 2 other things I want to mention before we talk about the experience on here is, 1, because the processing is all done on the glasses themselves, you actually get a much better response time. It's down to 3 milliseconds now compared to the 20 to 30 that you got with the beam, since before, the positioning data from the glasses had to be sent to the beam to be processed, and then once it was processed, it got sent back to the glasses, causing that delay. Where now, because it's all done right on the glasses, it's super fast at 3 milliseconds, which, for some reference, is actually 4 times faster than the 12 milliseconds on the Vision Pro. And then the second thing is XREAL is doing something smart with frame interpolation, where they take the maxed 60 FPS output from the iPhone, for example, and they insert duplicate frames in order to up the refresh rate to either 90 or 120 Hz, which just makes things look a little bit smoother and also helps reduce flicker. Now, that's not to say that the X1 chip doesn't come with any trade-offs, because there are a couple. The first one is that the glasses are a little bit heavier than before, which I'm assuming has to do with the chip. The second is they do run a little bit warmer than before since you're doing on-device processing, but it's not anything uncomfortable. And then the third thing, which I think I'm nitpicking at this point, is when you connect them, there is a little bit of a boot up time where before it was nearly instant. But in exchange for that, these offer, I think, the best experience I've ever had with glasses like these. So I've been using them across a wide range of devices, from my Mac and my Pixel to the ROG Ally, and I feel like the plug-and-play nature of these kind of make them game-changing. Obviously, using with the phone now is way more convenient since you get the best possible experience with the full 3DoF stabilization, and it's the same story with a computer. On top of the privacy benefit, where if you're on an airplane, you don't have to worry about your neighbor being able to see what you're looking at if you just dim your screen. But now, you also get a new ultra-wide mode, where the glasses essentially tell your computer that you've connected it to an ultra-wide monitor, letting you take your productivity up a notch. Obviously, it does crop at the edges since this isn't as wide as an ultra-wide monitor, so you do have to turn your head to take full advantage of it, but still, if you're on the go and you need to get some work done, it could come in handy. But because we're just talking about a 1080p resolution where it's not quite sharp enough to be pixel perfect around text, I mainly prefer to use these for watching shows and movies and for playing games, where 1080p is more than enough. In fact, I would say that gaming on here has been my favorite use case lately since, again, they're the only glasses that support 3DoF natively, so you can just plug them into a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally and get the full stabilization plus faster response time. I've been playing Crysis and some Halo Infinite, and it's been awesome. The screen clarity, the brightness, and the sheer size of it make for the most immersive gaming experience I think I've ever had outside of wearing a full VR headset. And the fact that it's portable enough to fit in a shirt pocket and works with any device that has DisplayPort Makes it one of my top recommendations in terms of gadgets when people ask me what's cool in tech. The glasses start at $499 for these XREAL Ones, with the upcoming XREAL One Pros going for only $100 more, while featuring an even wider 57-degree field of view, which, I can't wait to test. But anyways, that is it for me in this video. Big thanks to XREAL for sponsoring the showcase. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.